Good evening. Tonight we are heading to Glendale, Arizona, where it's actually still morning over there, and we meet Shari Rowe. So thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. How are you today?
Yeah, very good. So thank you for getting up nice and early for us today.
Yes. I've been posting on, of course, the takeover on Instagram. Not a morning person, but I do enjoy mornings like this when I get to be with you all.
Excellent. So is it a bit strange kind of virtually coming to the UK today?
Yes, it is. I'd much rather be there in person. That'd be wonderful.
So what is day-to-day life like at the minute in Arizona? Because we're just coming out of another lockdown over here.
Oh yeah, we are too. Actually, it's finally starting to open up. We're booking more shows. We actually have our first show in about a year coming up on April 16th. So things are starting to open up. There's some hope in the air. It's definitely heating up around here. So we're in for a long, hot summer as usual.
So what do you think it's going to be like doing that first show again?
The band and I are pumped. We've been having rehearsals, and you can just feel the excitement. It's like somebody, threw the gates open. So there's going to be a lot of energy. I think I have a couple songs that came out during the pandemic that are a little bit deeper. So I think as I perform those for the first time for a live crowd, we'll probably have some sentimental moments, just everyone getting to be together and experiencing music together again, and us being able to do what we love. So I think it'll be a good mix of emotion.
So it's obviously not going to be one of the most conventional venues you're going to be playing, though, is it?
No, we'll be outside, which, we've had to make adjustments, as far as crowds and distancing, of course, and it's going to be a safe environment for everybody. It's going to be outside. It's not too hot yet. The evenings in the desert here are cooling down a lot still this time of year. So it's going to be outside in the parking lot of a venue here called Celebrity Theater, which is iconic here in Arizona. Everyone has played there. It's experiencing a revival here in the Valley. So as things open up, there'll be more and more shows actually inside Celebrity Theater coming soon. But for now, we're going to be in the parking lot, but it's going to be full staging, full audio, lighting, LED screens. We're just pulling out all the stops. We're going to have the full concert experience.
So is it going to be people in their cars, or is it going to be set areas?
So originally it was going to be drive-in in their cars, and they could tune in on an FM station to listen or be outside their car. But things have loosened up a little bit. So we've moved to what they're calling a pod seating situation. So there will be areas designated for 6 to 8 people per square, if you will. But everyone will be outside. So we'll have that feeling of togetherness in a safe environment. There's going to be a ton of food trucks. So everyone will be able to order on an app to order some food and drinks. And it's a perfect time of year to do something like this here outside.
So as things start getting back to normal, obviously your latest release is quite a timely one. It's called Long Hugs. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. I have been waiting to put this song out. Mark Addison Chandler, Blue Foley, and I, those are two amazingly talented songwriters and artists. We had a co-write back in 2019, and that's when we wrote this song. And we were really talking about living in the moment, which anyone who knows me knows that I'm very sentimental about taking in the moment, just kind of stopping and realizing that, we're not guaranteed anything beyond this moment. And there's so many things we miss if we're in a hurry. So we kind of had that conversation, and Mark refers to his son hugging his grandma. And he said, my son is a squeezer. He holds on and he doesn't let go. And there's something about the hug itself that is healing. There's just it's universal, what it feels like to truly have a good hug from someone. But beyond that, it's about being in the moment, seizing the day, slowing down also, which 2020 taught us all, sort of forced us to slow down. But it will be sentimental because now that things are opening up again and we're able to hug the ones that we haven't been able to hug, it's very timely. So we could have never imagined we'd be in this spot in the world, but the song is very fitting. So I'm grateful.
So how important do you think a song like this is going to be for people, as you say, especially as it is the right time to release it now?
Yeah, well, so far the response has been very emotional. Leading up to the release, I did a search just with the hashtag on Instagram, long hugs, healing hugs, things of the like. And I was just curious, to see, what I would find. And I came across so many beautiful posts from people sharing hugs all over the world. Healing hugs, reunion hugs, support hugs, just fun hugs. And I had an idea. I reached out to each person and I said, could I use these posts and compile them into a video? And that's what we did. The video came out, I think it's just about 2 weeks ago now. And it is truly universal, seeing everyone have these moments. And I had people message me saying, some of the people in the video are no longer with us. And it's a tribute to, someone's daughter, or it's someone in law enforcement who had a really heavy day on the job and their son knew that they just needed a hug, and just a lot of emotion. So I think it's going to mean a lot to everybody because we all get it and we've all missed it.
So what was it like for you the first time you watched the video back, having come up with the idea?
Well, I'm a crier. I'm very sentimental, so I get choked up very easily. And I just truly, for me, music is so much fun and I love putting on a great show. I love creating. But for me, the human element, hearing someone's story, understanding how that song touched them, or what's happening in their life, and that means so much to me. So watching that for the first time, seeing that idea come to life, yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful moment for me and very emotional.
Do you think it's an idea you'd use again for a music video to sort of incorporate that kind of idea of posts and fans involved?
I think so, because the response was great. And I love, obviously, being a performer. The spotlight is a lot of fun. It's great, but I love pointing that spotlight in a different direction. And the fans mean so much to me. And to really see, that first idea for that song and creating that song and hearing it come to life is a moment in and of itself. But then to have people find themselves in it and to display it like that and to connect with fans in that way is really special. So yeah, I think this might be a new tradition.
Were there any stories that have kind of come out from the video that have now inspired you?
There were lots of them. Like I said, the stories ranged from struggle to celebration. So we're strong, as a people as a whole. There's just so much strength and love. There's so much love all over the world. We just see so much negativity in the news, and there are struggles that we're all facing. But when it comes down to it, I'm always amazed and inspired by how big people love one another and how they try to rise above and be strong. So
now, you did release a couple of songs throughout the last year. What was it like adapting to release music at a time when you couldn't play those songs live?
That was different. It really was. We did some streaming online. We did, there was a huge touring lighting company here in town that obviously wasn't working. And they opened up their studio and they set up full lighting, and we did a couple streaming shows from there. And that was one way to connect. Fans were very responsive to that. But I was really grateful that I had recorded a bunch of music right before the lockdown. I had just gotten back from Nashville, tracked a bunch of songs. Then all the studios shut down. So I was waiting for my songs to actually be mixed down and finished. They were sort of in lockdown too. But as they came out and I was able to still put that creative energy out there and still connect, I was very grateful. The timing was good for me there.
So have you been able to get back to Nashville since the start of last year?
I haven't, no. Arizona was definitely one of the worst in the world as far as, statistically. And so we had very strict lockdown, and, my circle became very small. We have people in our family who are elderly or who have health issues. And so for me, that was priority. So I wasn't able to really take risks. My husband and I actually had COVID. It wasn't bad, thankfully, but my circle became very, very tight. So I'm really looking forward to getting back. I was just talking to one of my co-writers out there, and I just miss the scene and miss my Nashville family.
So how have you or what have you done with the time that you've sort of now had this extra time, not been on the road?
Well, I can say for sure last spring, I mean, if you look at my yard now, our backyard, it does not look like we live in a desert. We definitely utilized our green thumbs and planted so many things. We were really blessed because the heat didn't hit early last spring. And so we had a very long, mild spring before the real heat hit. So we were outside more than we were in. So that I was grateful for that. So very lush backyard. Lots of cooking. We grew, lots of, basil and oregano and tomatoes, and did lots of cooking, and watched a lot of Netflix.
So obviously you've now released your first song of the year. Were you able to use the time to get some more songwriting done?
Always. I mean, I feel like songwriting and creating that's just sort of in our DNA. My husband is a bass player. He's a bass player in our band. And so we are able to create together. We have a home studio here. And then we've got a couple other members of the family who are musicians, a lot of creative energy in the house. So somebody's always hitting record and laying down either a guitar riff or an idea or something. So
is it good to have that kind of many inspirations around you?
I love it. I love it. I love it. There are instruments everywhere in the house. There have been times when everybody's sort of in their own corner, and you can hear a violin off in the distance over there, and the piano in here, and somebody tracking guitar. And I love that environment. It's comforting to me as well as inspiring.
Now, when you're obviously trying to break into the kind of an ever-growing market that's getting more global, how important is it to kind of stay unique and stick with your own sound?
One thing I've learned for sure, I mean, I think every artist struggles in the beginning of their commercial career to fit in. And I think there's a certain amount of, there is a certain amount of that necessary as far as learning how to be commercial. Like if we're only thinking with an artistic mind and we're not considering what people want to hear, we can sort of put ourselves in a corner and never be heard. But I do really believe more than ever that it's so important to find who you are. And even though there may be some formulas that work that here and there we have to apply and sprinkle in, I think we have to be able to break through and show our own vulnerability and who we are.
Now, it must feel like a lifetime ago when you released your last EP back in August 2019. How kind of relieved are you got it out when you did?
Oh, very relieved. I think that's, again, timing. There have been definitely some negative things that have happened, with timing wise, because of the pandemic for all of us. But I'm very grateful that I've been able to put music out still and still create and still have sort of a menu to pick from to figure out what I'm going to do next. At least I didn't lose momentum in that area.
Now, obviously haven't done the live streams. Are there any kind of tracks from that have become slight fan favorites over the last year?
Oh man, we did sort of a pandemic quarantine version of Take That Shot. And this was when we were in like hardcore lockdown. I mean, we were having our groceries delivered, that whole thing. And so we weren't seeing anyone really, but we virtually, we had everybody track their part on Take That Shot. And then I edited the video together, and that was fun for everybody because Take That Shot has a special place, I think, in my heart. It seems to be one of the fan favorites. So it was fun it was inspired by the Lady Antebellum. They did that. And I was like, this is fun. Let's try that. So it was good.
Now, can you believe it's nearly 6 years since your debut release came out?
I can't believe, where does the time go? No, I can't believe that. I feel like, gosh, we're always looking forward. We're the group, the band, my family, we're all sort of dreamers. So we're always looking ahead. But yeah, man, time's flying. It's crazy.
Are the nerves still the same then when you sort of have these new music releases and publishing tour dates?
Yes and no. I mean, there's that feeling of, you created something and I think as artists, you're obviously wanting people to like what you do. So you're kind of waiting to see what the response is going to be. You can think that this is the best thing you've ever done, and it's not necessarily relating that way. And it can be those songs that you didn't expect to take off that really connect with someone. So there's that anticipation of, you know, where it's going to go. But not nerves as much, because I've learned that you just can't predict it. So in that sense, that's sort of freeing. You just let it go and put it out there, and it's going to be what it's going to be to a certain extent.
So if you could go back to that day in May in 2015, what advice do you think you'd give yourself now?
Wow, that's a good question. I think, well, we were referring earlier to being unique and being yourself. I think, which I think everyone has to grow through understanding that. But if I could have had the courage to truly be more vulnerable back then, and let my own personality and my own viewpoints and my own, you know, the things I wanted to write about, and let sort of my own thing, you know, be more prominent, I would have done that. Yeah.
So before we finish, what do you think we can expect then for the rest of 2021 from you?
Lots of shows. I can't, but I mean, the band sounds better than ever. I mean, everybody has been, yeah, you would think like we had to brush the dust off, which we did a little bit, you know, at that first rehearsal, but it all came back really, really quick. So lots of shows. We're waiting to fill up the calendar. I'm excited about seeing my friends in the industry get back to work. All the lighting people and the audio engineers and stage hands and catering and all of these jobs that were affected. It wasn't just the artists, but the entire community. And unfortunately, we lost a lot of people to other careers because they couldn't find work. So I just want to see this whole community come together and do what they love doing again. I want to look around in the middle of a show and just see my guys just having the best time and doing what they love to do and what they're made to do. So shows, and more music.
So what does a Shari Rowe show look like?
Oh man, a lot of energy. It's always been that way. The guys are just, they come to life on stage. Off stage, we're just a crazy band family. Everybody's just a little eccentric and hilarious, great sense of humor. And I think it's a chance for everybody to see each individual personality, because no one hides that up there. You know, when we're in our element, I think that's when we're truly at our best. And so I feel like it's a glimpse into that relationship that we have as a band family, and to really hear, I mean, some talented musicians. These guys are just phenomenal. I'm so proud of all of them. So I think a lot of energy, and then there's always going to be those sentimental moments for me. You know, I love to share a little bit about the, you know, behind the story behind some of the songs, and making that eye contact with everyone. And it's a relationship, you know. We're going to be up there for like 90 minutes, and we're going to be with Matt Ferris. He's playing before us, and it's just going to be, it's going to be like friends getting back together again.
Excellent here. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And thank you again for taking over our Instagram account today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. You guys have a great night.